Hey folks, this is Pantazi. I wanted to talk about Kyusho again today, but not just Kyusho. There's a difference in Kyushos. There's many people teaching Kyusho around the world, and there are many different qualities and ways of teaching it. And there's so many now, it's hard to keep track of who's training what and how long they've been training and who's trained with who. And we have a lot of different styles that are giving out belts like any other martial arts system. There are people that are just belt salesmen. We just found out that there's one Kyusho Grandmaster that has a 7th dan in Kyusho after only 7 years. Each year he seems to get a new dan. Quite amazing, actually. But this problem's rife throughout the martial arts, so it's not just Kyusho. But there is a difference in Kyusho. We all have to give kudos, first of all, to George Dillman. Love him or not, he's a guy that broke the Kyusho into the mainstream, and he's the one that brought the information out. And he actually figured it out. I mean, we had Taiki Oyata before him that was demonstrating it publicly, but not really teaching it. So Dillman had figured it out, and he worked with it. And I'll say, in the early days, he was talking more with doctors, training people with the nerves and the real structures of the body. And then because of another individual in his organization who got booted out of the organization, there was a big switch over to the TCM model. Now that TCM model is what's causing a lot of the problems, because it's, first of all, a false paradigm. It's not what makes Kyusho work. And this is evidenced by all the research we've done with medical professionals and scientists of all different disciplines, from brain technologists to therapists to everybody. But we're finding out the real truth was what the old masters documented in their manuals, from Funakoshi to Fujita to Ohan Soken and many others. Mabuni had the Bubishi in his book, but you've seen all my posts and videos in the past showing you exactly what these guys documented and what they had in their styles. But anyway, there is the difference in the Kyusho, not only in the pressure points and the how it works. Again, pressure points not being the model that you want to follow. Let's face it, an acupuncturist is putting needles into the fascia. Okay, the acupressurist is massaging the fascia, maybe just a little deeper. But you don't stick a needle in a nerve, because that would make the person scream. You don't stick a needle in a blood vessel, because that makes them bleed. So it's not the Kyusho and the dim mak of old that caused the medical problems, the health issues that were documented again, and also have the power to defeat the opponent. It's the real anatomical structures, and it's how you train it. All right, there's a lot of Kyusho people, the guys that make those quick dans that just stand around. They'll hit a person to show how it works, just to have a dojo trick or a seminar trick they can make themselves look really important with. But they don't really train it or train their people, more importantly. What we have to do is we have to train it in a real methodical process of stressful attack and defense. Okay, that's what the martial arts are about. Not just striking the person and making them scream or drop or have some sort of physical dysfunction, even the knockouts, okay, which is a very small part of the Kyusho, by the way. All right, so we have to take a look at that, and we have to take a look at who's training what. You have to really be a discerning student of the art to understand who's teaching, where they came from, their background, and all of that. So again, it's buyer beware, and you really should, you owe it to yourself to really look into what you're learning and who's it from and where they came from and the proof and the actual training. Now, here's something that really irks me. A lot of martial artists out there, it's not just karate, it's all martial artists, make fun of the Kyusho, even though they haven't trained it before and they don't understand it, or they never even felt it before. So I discount these people. I just don't even really care what they say. They just have no argument if they haven't trained it or haven't felt it or haven't experienced it. So you have to be aware of those folks as well. Now here's one real thing that gets me too is you have a lot of martial arts schools that they have no contact. They pull the punches. They fake the kick. They fake the punch. Yeah, it's directed to the person's head of a person that just punched in and stands there waiting for this barrage like in American Kempo. And I'm not dissing American Kempo. American Kempo is great. I studied it myself. But it's pulling those strikes instead of getting the results and finding the way the body falls or the body maneuvers when you hit it is more realistic. You get a good, true understanding of what the attacker is going to go through, how they're going to fall. Now, if you've got multiple people, knowing how a person's going to fall when you attack a certain target is going to be of great value to you. So again, not all Kyusho is the same. You need to really take a good solid look at the instructor, the process, how they're doing it, the mechanisms they're trying to explain to you, and then go from there. Don't just take it because a person says I'm this dan or that dan in Kyusho. Just look at their lineage, look at their history, look at what they can actually accomplish, and look at what they've given to the public for information, for teaching methodology, and what they're trying to promote. Is it themselves or is it their students? Again, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. We've got many more videos coming out on historical facts of the Kyusho, along with new findings. And of course, stay tuned because we're expanding the Living Bubishi, making that book come to life, because there's a whole lot of information that's in there that's really important. Now, I've been talking about, one last thing, I've been talking about the Bubishi for a couple of years now. I've been studying it for decades, but I've been talking about it recently because it's time people started taking that book and really investigating what's in it and how it can help their arts, and let's face it, get back to the traditions of their art. Because if, say, Shotokan or Shido-ryu or Shorin-ryu, whatever style it was, the founders were talking about the Bubishi and how it was the Bible of the karate, or the Bible of their studies or their foundation, isn't it interesting that you should be investigating? That should be what you're after, the real truth and what the forms and the martial arts were really intended to do. So I'm just bringing it to you because it's fascinating to me, but it is not the live all and end all, okay? And I'm just really harping on it recently because I want people to really get a good foundation for the traditions and what the book really means, because it was very often misunderstood, and that hides the true intent, the true realities of Kyusho. So again, please subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you at some training this year. This year's focus, of course, is the Living Bubishi with the white crane nerve attacks and the black tiger blood attacks. So I hope to see you there. Take care.